reports are coming out that Mohamed Salah may be potentially leaving Liverpool in the summer transfer window. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into this topic. G, what do you think about this? Should Mohamed Salah leave Liverpool?
You know, it's a bit surprising because it kind of came out of nowhere. But I think if we're thinking about this hypothetically, I think it's the right move. I mean, Salah has proven everything he can in the Premier League. He's arguably one of the greatest players to ever play in the Premier League. So, I mean, Liverpool are in a great position to really win anything. I mean, they're a top four contending team, but that's what they used to be before Mohamed Salah, before the Klopp era, where they were just basically a top four. That's all. That's all they had for. That's all they were really going for, and that's not really what a player of Salah's level is really interested in. He's interested in winning, constantly winning. So if it's like that, I would say, yeah, it's time for him to leave. I think there's a lot of other clubs that are best suited to win right now. I mean, there's a lot of teams I could think of, maybe three teams right now that is Mohamed Salah away from being, a solid contender for the Champions League every single season. So I
Mm-hmm.
think in the better part of winning, if Mohamed Salah wants to win, I think it's the right move to leave Liverpool.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, we'll get into our expected destinations, but first, my opinion on this. I think I wouldn't blame Salah for leaving Liverpool if he wants to do so now. Obviously, he's already a Liverpool legend, a Premier League legend, one of the best players to ever grace the Premier League, and he has nothing left to prove. He has won everything that he could possibly win in England. He's won the FA Cup. He's won the Carabao Cup. He's won the Premier League. He's won the Champions League for Liverpool. There's nothing more to win. There's nothing more to accomplish. He's been the Golden Boot winner 3 times. I mean, there's nothing more to accomplish. He's done it all. So if he wants to leave and he wants to try and prove himself in another league and do it there, I wouldn't blame him, and I necessarily don't think that's a bad move. It would be sad to a certain extent because obviously he has been one of the greatest players ever to grace the Premier League, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen, and it's one of those things. I wouldn't blame him for doing it. I don't know if I necessarily expect it to happen. I do think Liverpool are going to try to keep him because, I mean, realistically, where do they go from here if they get rid of Salah? I mean, that's the face of Liverpool. That's you're not going to get someone even though he is getting older. You're not going to get someone to replace him realistically. I mean, it's just like they tried to replace Sadio Mane, they couldn't really do it. So it's like, who is really going to replace Salah, even though he's getting older? It kind of depends on how they're looking at it. Do they want to get their money back? Do they want to get some money back for him, or do they want to ride it out with Salah and ultimately, 3-4 years left to maybe his prime? So it depends on how they look at it, really.
Yeah, because I mean, the reports have come out to say Salah's open to a move, but it's not like he's
Yeah,
100% like
I
other
want to
reports
move.
that Harry Kane, like other than like Harry Kane, who forcefully says, "Yeah, I want out 100%." Salah's
Mhm.
open to it, but out of like realistic, I doubt it actually happens. But this is more a hypothetical of like if you were Salah, basically, what would you do? And I think the right move for his career would be to move on because, like you said, he's proven everything. He's won everything in England, and he's a Liverpool legend. So
Mhm.
I mean, I think now he has maybe three seasons left of his prime. So I mean, and you don't want to waste it at Liverpool. I
Yeah,
mean, it's harsh to say waste at Liverpool because that's
it's a top club.
it's a top club, but I Liverpool's not going to win a Champions League, and they're definitely not winning the Premier League realistically anytime soon. I mean, they've seemed to struggle to replace Sadio Mane. I mean, we've seen it; they've struggled all season, and they're not the same team anymore.
I mean, realistically, I don't know if Salah, is sitting there wanting to use his final years of his prime in a Liverpool rebuilding team, a Liverpool team that's not going to necessarily be contending for the Premier League. Because, I mean, look, they're not going to get Jude Bellingham. That's also reports that are coming out. So, I mean, they're not getting the star signings. They might get a couple squad players, a couple good depth players, you know what I mean? But that's not going to take them over the top to becoming, title contenders because Van Dijk is not the same player he once was. It's just the Liverpool team that we know and some of them love from that era is just it's getting older. They're not the same players that they kind of were. So it's going to have to take a influx of spending. They're going to have to spend a lot of money to replace some of these guys. And Liverpool have always been hesitant in the transfer market. They've never been big spenders. That's just what it is. Liverpool have never been big spenders. So I don't necessarily expect that to change. And the only time Liverpool spend big is when they have big outgoings in the transfer market. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like they got rid of Mane, they got money for him, so then they replaced them. But they used that money. Coutinho, for example. I mean,
Coutinho. They got Van Dijk. They got Allison.
so if they're gonna spend big, they're selling big, and that would mean Salah leaving maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, what would the market even be for Mohamed Salah right now? I mean, in the current market, I wouldn't be surprised if he's around 80 million. I mean, if I'm a club, I would not pay more than 80 million for Mohamed Salah just
because
because
of
of
his
his
age.
age. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing when we talk about even with Neymar. I mean, there's a lot of players with, especially how inflated the market is now. Like, there's a lot of young players like Mudryk. I mean, Mudryk's going for 70 odd million, man. It's like Jesus Christ. I mean, if he's 70 million, how much is Mohamed Salah? A guy
Yeah.
who's proven to play. And I mean, there's a lot of clubs. Then I'm sure we're gonna get into it now. And I want to actually pass this off to you first. If
Mm.
you were Mohamed Salah, put yourself in his shoes, and let's just say you want to lead Liverpool. What what's your list? What's your checklist? Where's the number one spot you'd want to go to?
The first club that I would tell my agent to call is Real Madrid. And this is obviously something that probably brings joy to your face, obviously, but it's one of those
Somewhat.
things when you look at the landscape of football at the moment and you say, who would want me? And he's not gonna go within the Premier League. He wouldn't disrespect Liverpool like that. I mean,
No.
that's out of the question. So realistically, he wants to prove himself in another league. So he's not gonna go to the Serie A. The only club in the French league obviously would be PSG, and that's obviously an option. I would say PSG is a legitimate option. And then in La Liga, Barcelona can't afford anybody realistically. I mean, they're focusing on
They,
trying to
they
bring
have
back
to they
Messi.
have to sell De Jong. I mean, I've seen that they're forced to sell like players. They have to sell players.
Yeah, and if they're gonna bring in anybody, they're focusing on trying to bring in Messi. So Barcelona's out of the question. So then it comes down to Real Madrid, who I think would be in for him. And then realistically, I don't think there's any other club that comes to mind that's like this team would be in for Mohamed Salah. I mean, Bayern Munich, they don't really go for players like that, and that's the only
Yeah.
club in the Bundesliga. So for me, it's either Real Madrid or PSG. And if I'm Salah, I would go to Real Madrid because ultimately I know that's been a team that you've been wanting to get revenge for. And obviously, Liverpool and Real Madrid have a rivalry now, genuinely, because they play each other every year in the Champions League. But if you go to Real Madrid, Benzema, Vinicius, and Salah, you are winning the Champions League. It's simple because you look at the Real Madrid team right now, they need a right winger and they need one
That
desperately. And
that's
if you
the
add Mohamed Salah to that team, oh my God. I mean, that's like, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities because right now it's just like Vinicius Jr. and Benzema are bust for Real Madrid. But now you add Mo Salah, one of the most dynamic goal scoring wingers of all time, to that team. Come on. That team is destined for success. And ultimately, Florentino Perez is going to be looking to make a splash, especially if they go trophyless this season. And it might not be under Carlo Ancelotti. He might get sacked, but that's not the point. Florentino Perez is going to have to make a splash because he didn't sign anyone in January, and they might go trophyless outside of the Club World Cup. That's unacceptable. So he's going to have to make big signings, and bringing in a Mo Salah shows intent to win now. And that's what Real Madrid needs to do. They need to show intent to win now. So I think that would be the smart move, not only for Salah but also for Real Madrid.
I mean, I would agree. I mean, when you look at the landscape of what's out there, there's not a lot of proper suitors for Mohamed Salah. I mean, the only real options are PSG or Real Madrid because I mean, Bayern Munich already they splashed and got Mane. So, and I don't really think Bayern look at Salah and say, it'd be nice to have Salah, but they don't necessarily need him. The
No,
one team that is starving for him is Real Madrid. But the only thing that makes this move made me question it is that how does Salah feel towards the club? Because I
mm-hmm.
mean, there is a genuine rivalry. I kind of feel that he doesn't. I mean, it's all right to say he doesn't like the club. I mean, it's
I wouldn't
for
like him
all.
either.
I wouldn't like him either, man. Like for all the the unlucky he's been against Real Madrid. I mean, he got injured playing them, and then he just hasn't been able to beat them. It'd be a bit of a pill to swallow to just join the team that's been constantly beating you. But if we put that to the side and just look at a pure football like club level like move, it's the perfect move because what is Real Madrid starving of? They're starving of two things: a proper right winger and a right back. And Mohamed Salah is arguably the best right winger in world football. And to have that, it's almost too good to be true. I mean, it's literally just I almost look like a delusional Madrid fan because like Jesus, that would literally be the best front three in world football. But Mohamed Salah, Benzema, and Vinny, and that's solid three good seasons of the best front three in world football. I mean
Benzema,
that'd
I don't
be
know if he has 3 good seasons left in him, but Vinny and Salah,
I think he does. I mean, if he's able to surround him with Mohamed Salah to take a little bit of that workload off, I think that'll be fine for him. I don't think we can really rely on him, but that's besides the point. I think that would be the perfect move for Salah and Madrid because Salah would be put in the best position to win right now because that's what Madrid are desperate to do, win constantly because that's
mm-hmm.
the whole DNA of the club to constantly win. And at a career point, I mean that's the next step. I mean realistically, when it comes down to football, the pinnacle of club level is either playing for Real Madrid or realistically playing for Barcelona, one of those teams. It's like those
Yeah.
are the pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
You go to those teams to make your legacy. And not to say Mohamed Salah, oh, he needs to do this to prove his legacy. He's a great player, but this is the next step. I mean, we've seen great players go to Real Madrid and they look nothing the same. I mean, mention Eden Hazard. I mean, he left
David
literally
Beckham.
Chelsea at the peak of his powers, and then absolutely falls apart. I mean, it's I'm not saying that that would happen with Mohamed Salah, but I mean, this is like the next step. And I
Hmm.
think that would be the smart decision to make. And it would be obviously, as a Madrid fan, something I would like to see, but it all comes down to the board. I mean, what are the board thinking? Because God knows what those people are thinking up there. I mean, they're a bunch of, basically 5-year-olds that don't know anything's going on.
Yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily know if the board would be in for that type of signing. I don't know what that they're actually planning up. What are they cooking over there in Real Madrid? I don't know. They have to be cooking up something
They're
special after what they
burning.
did in January. But it's one of those things. I think given the history between not only the two clubs, but between Salah and Real Madrid, it would be a tough pill to swallow for Mohamed Salah to make this move. And given the landscape of what's realistically out there for Mo Salah, if he does want to leave Liverpool, kind of makes me believe that he will eventually end up staying at Liverpool. I mean, he has a contract, he's a legend.
Hmm.
It just seems like he could leave. Like it's a genuine possibility, but I do think ultimately he will stay at Liverpool just because I just don't know if he really wants to go to Real Madrid. Like no
Yeah,
disrespect to the club, but I mean I'm sure he respects the club on a level, but I don't know if he really wants to, like accept that and be like, you know what, I just have to go. If you can't beat him, join him.
yeah, it's just how the if it was if it were a different time, where maybe Juventus were what they used to be, maybe back in like 2018, 2017, and they were a real option, or maybe PSG were in a better position than they are. I mean, PSG could be a really good option. I mean, they were looking to get rid of Neymar, but it wouldn't really make
It
sense
just doesn't
for
really make sense.
PSG to
It
get
seems
rid
like
of
they're going for
Neymar.
younger players.
Yeah, they're trying to get younger players and try and surround other players around Mbappe so he can have them for multiple seasons. I mean, get any team that's getting Salah or is the whole idea is winning now. And
Hmm.
there's only realistically Real Madrid that is in the position to get him and that have a proper squad that can win right now. I
Yeah.
mean, realistically, I think he's just going to stay at Liverpool just because there really is not that many suitors.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I would love to see him. I would love to see him test himself in La Liga and go to Real Madrid ultimately because I think that would be an amazing spectacle to watch. But I just don't think it'll happen at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's a bit unrealistic. I mean, it would be fun to see Messi versus Salah.
It would be, if that does happen, and Messi goes back to Barcelona, we will have to see if that happens. Obviously, we are in the international break right now at the moment, so a little bit more of these hypothetical videos, a little bit of transfer rumor videos to keep our attention on world football during the international break. Because I know, just like everyone else, we're sitting here, we're like, we got nothing to talk about. I mean, it's the international break. There ain't nothing to watch, ain't nothing to talk about. Like we
No
got to talk
club
about
football, no
something. No club
nothing.
football.
Jesus.
We're down bad right now at the moment, so we're just gonna have to. Keep making these types of videos. So, subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about Mohamed Salah's the rumor that he might leave Liverpool? Do you think he will leave Liverpool? Should he leave Liverpool? Let us know in the comments down below. And is Real Madrid the best option for Salah? Like we kind of both are in agreement here. Let us know in the comments down below. Slap a like on the video. But I think without further ado, we can wrap this one up.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
So I'm Zach,
I'm G.
and we'll see y'all next time for another video. Peace.